The Vanishing Boy in Block C. Before we dive in, hit subscribe if you're brave enough to follow the real stories buried behind prison walls, the ones authorities would rather you never hear. The rain was coming down in sharp, icy sheets the night the call came in. A juvenile detainee, 16-year-old Marcus Hale, had vanished inside Rikers Island. Not escaped, not released, vanished. From a locked corridor under constant surveillance, or so everyone believed. Detective Lena Marquez stood under the buzzing fluorescent lights of the juvenile wing, staring at the empty cell Marcus had occupied just hours earlier. His mattress was still warm. His shoes were still under the bunk. His intake bracelet lay snapped on the floor, the number barely readable through the smudged plastic. It was as if he had been erased mid-sentence. The correction officers looked shaken. They kept glancing at each other, exchanging silent accusations. "There's no way he walked out," Officer Dre insisted, sweat beading at his temples despite the cold. The cameras were on. The doors were locked. We checked the logs, but Lena wasn't buying it. She had worked enough cases to know that when everyone swears something is impossible, it usually means someone made it possible. Rikers Island was a fortress of concrete, steel, and whispered secrets. Especially this section, the part of the complex that once housed minors alongside hardened adult inmates. A place critics had described as chaotic, violent, and dangerously unprepared to protect vulnerable boys like Marcus. The city had promised reforms, restructuring, oversight. But tonight's disappearance suggested that not all shadows had been cleared out. Lena pushed deeper into the cell, scanning the walls. Scratches. Not random, almost rhythmic. As if someone spent hours carving lines, counting days, or counting something else. She followed them with her fingers until she reached a corner where the final line broke off abruptly. The single gouge in the wall was much deeper than the others. "What was he like?" she asked. Dre hesitated. Quiet kid. Too quiet. Kept to himself. He was waiting for trial, said he didn't do what they accused him of. "They all say that. But this one," he exhaled. This one looked scared. A scared kid in Rikers usually meant only one thing. Someone had their hooks in him. Lena stepped back into the hallway, her boots echoing through the long concrete corridor. Every sound bounced, stretched, and overlapped like the place was breathing. As she walked, she noticed the cameras. All of them intact. All of them pointing directly at the doors. But when she asked for the footage, a sudden explanation arrived. The feeds were corrupted between 2:14 and 3:02 a.m. Corrupted. Only during the window Marcus disappeared. Convenient. Too convenient. Lena requested backup, but her radio crackled with static. Something else malfunctioning. In a place with one of the tightest security systems in the country, failure was starting to look suspiciously organized. She continued deeper into the wing, where echoes of distant shouting rolled through the vents. A young detainee called out to her from the recreation cage. His face was pressed between the bars, eyes wide with a fear that looked older than he was. "You're looking for Marcus, right?" Lena stopped. "You know where he went?" "No," the boy whispered, voice trembling. "But I know who came for him." Lena's pulse kicked. "Who?" The kid looked over his shoulder, making sure no one was listening. Then he leaned closer, lowering his voice to a trembling breath. It wasn't an inmate. It wasn't a guard. It was someone he talked to the night before. Someone he said could make his charges disappear. Lena felt the air tighten around her. "And who was that?" she asked. The boy swallowed. Marcus called him the fixer. The lights flickered overhead. SS what comes next. Detective Lena Marquez didn't scare easily, but the name the fixer hit something deep in her memory. A whisper from an old case file. A rumor among prosecutors. A ghost woven into the cracks of New York's justice system. She stepped closer to the young detainee, gripping the bars. Rain hammered the metal roof overhead, each drop echoing like a ticking clock. "Tell me everything," Lena said. The boy swallowed hard. Marcus was freaking out the night before he disappeared. He said someone reached out through one of the guards. Said this guy, the fixer, could get him out of trouble. Make his case vanish. But he had to give him something first. "What something?" she pressed. The boy shook his head. "I don't know. Marcus didn't say. He just kept saying, I didn't do it. I shouldn't even be here. He said the guy would prove it." Lena's jaw tightened. Kids at Rikers were supposed to be protected, separated, supported, monitored. Instead, they were still drowning in the same shadows the system claimed it had reformed. She left the juvenile wing and headed toward the administrative corridor. The long walk felt colder now. The fluorescent lights flickered in staggered rhythms, like the electricity itself was nervous. Captain Royce met her halfway, arms crossed, expression stale. "Marquez, you're digging too deep. The Hale kid didn't escape. He's hiding somewhere in the complex. That's all." "No," Lena said. Someone removed him. Someone who had control over the surveillance system. Royce's brow twitched, barely but enough. Lena noticed. "What do you know about this so-called fixer?" she asked. Royce scoffed. "Urban legend. Jailhouse myth. Every locked facility has one, the invisible boogeyman inmates blame when they don't want to talk." But Lena saw the unease behind his eyes. Officers weren't just hiding something. Some of them were afraid. She walked past him without another word. The first break in the case. The security room was kept behind 2 electronically locked doors. Lena flashed her badge, and the guard stepped aside. Inside, rows of monitors cast pale blue light across the room. Officer Patel sat rigidly at the console, eyes glued to the blank footage from Marcus's corridor. "Show me the logs," Lena said. Patel hesitated. "Ma'am, you're not going to like this." He pulled up the server timeline. Between 2:14 and 3:02 a.m., the system registered no errors, no power surges, no software failures, no disconnects. But the footage was gone. "Someone erased it manually," Lena murmured. Patel nodded. "And whoever did it used a passcode only ranking officers have." A cold pressure tightened in Lena's chest. Someone high up had access. Someone trusted. Someone dangerous. Marcus's final hours. Back in Marcus's intake records, Lena found an anomaly, a visitor entry made the evening before he disappeared. But the name was missing. The field was blank. "That's impossible," she told the clerk. The clerk shrugged, nervous. The signature line printed empty. "I don't know how, but the guard on duty that night said the visitor came with a clearance order." "What guard?" "Dre," the clerk said. Detective Marquez blinked. "The same officer who claimed he saw nothing." She found Dre in the staff locker room, sitting alone on a bench, staring at his hands like he didn't recognize them. "Who came to see Marcus?" Lena asked. He flinched. Hard. "No one." "I told you." "Dre," she said softly, "look at me." His eyes lifted, red-rimmed and terrified. "It wasn't supposed to go this way," he whispered. "I thought they just wanted to talk to him. I didn't know they were going to take him." "Who?" Dre's voice broke. "I don't know his real name. None of us do. We only know the warning." Lena leaned closer. "What warning?" He swallowed. "When the fixer shows up, you don't refuse." The room fell silent. "And what does he fix?" Lena asked. Dre's answer came out in a whisper. "Cases. Evidence. People. Whatever needs to disappear." A chill shot down her spine. But before she could press deeper, an alarm erupted through the facility, a blaring metallic howl. A juvenile detainee had been found unconscious in the showers, and next to his body lay a message scratched into the tile. "Stop looking for Marcus." The case had just become a war. The alarm kept screaming long after they shut off the sirens. Its echo seeped into every corner of Rikers Island like a warning the building wanted to deliver on its own. Detective Lena Marquez pushed through the swarm of officers crowding the shower block, her badge raised, her heartbeat sharp and fast. The injured juvenile was already being carried out on a stretcher, dazed but breathing. His skin was pale, his lips trembling. "He didn't slip," the medic said quietly. "Someone choked him out and left him." And then there was the message carved into the wall. "Stop looking for Marcus." A command, a threat, and a promise. Lena ran her fingers along the fresh gouges. The letters were jagged, hurried, as if the person carving them feared they wouldn't finish in time. She took a step back, scanning the room, feeling the energy shift. Someone was watching, or wanted her to believe they were. Captain Royce stormed in behind her. "Marquez, that's enough. Step away from this case. You're turning a missing juvenile into a conspiracy." "There is a conspiracy," she said, voice low. "Someone inside this facility is coordinating it." Royce's expression tightened. Not anger. Not disbelief. Fear. You don't understand what you're stepping into, he said. Then explain it. He opened his mouth, but before a word came out, a voice boomed over the PA speakers, distorted and grainy. Detective Marquez, come to Control Room 3. Alone. Officers froze. Royce's face drained of color. The fixer had just called her out. The revelation inside Control Room 3. Control Room 3 was smaller, darker, isolated from the central hub. A single monitor flickered inside, bathing the room in pale, ghostly light. When Lena pushed the door open, the screen brightened, not to show camera feeds, but a paused video file. Marcus's cell. Her breath caught. She pressed play. The footage showed Marcus pacing, anxious, looking over his shoulder at something, or someone outside the frame. Then the door opened. A man stepped in. His face was blurred, but the suit, the posture, the confidence. This wasn't a guard, not an inmate, not a visitor. He walked straight up to the terrified teenager, placed something small into Marcus's hand, and whispered into his ear. Marcus nodded, trembling. Then the man pressed his palm against the wall, and a section of the concrete slid open like a hidden panel, revealing a dark passage behind the cell. Marcus followed him into the darkness, and the wall sealed shut. The screen froze on the final frame. Lena's pulse hammered. A hidden passage. Inside Rikers. Something that should have been impossible. Something built into the facility long before the juvenile wing existed. A voice came from behind her. Now you know. She turned sharply. Captain Royce stood in the doorway, hands shaking. He wasn't supposed to take the kid, Royce said. The fixer, he handles things quietly. Adjusts cases. Redirects evidence. Makes trouble disappear before it reaches the courts. You let this happen? Lena demanded. Royce sank against the doorframe, defeated. Years ago, this place was built with emergency access tunnels. Some were sealed off. Others were never documented. He uses them. No one dares interfere. Where do they go? Royce lifted a trembling hand and pointed downward. The old intake vault. The final descent. The vault hadn't been used in decades. Dust thickened the air like fog as Lena pried open the rusted doors. Her flashlight cut through the darkness, revealing cracked tiles, collapsed beams, and long-forgotten storage rooms. She moved slowly, every sound magnified in the cavernous silence. Then she saw it. A single sneaker. Marcus's sneaker. Next to it, a phone. Not his, but an officer's. The screen was shattered, but a partial video still played. A frantic recording of someone running, whispering, he's taking him. I tried to stop it. The screen glitched, then froze on one frame. A man in a suit turning toward the camera, face partially revealed at last. Detective Marquez's stomach twisted. She knew that face. A high-ranking city official. A man responsible for overseeing juvenile justice reforms. The very person tasked with fixing the broken system. The fixer. Before she could react, a metallic clang echoed behind her. The vault doors slammed shut. Lena sprinted toward them, but it was too late. The lock sealed. A voice drifted through the ventilation grate, calm, controlled, chilling. You should have stopped digging, detective. Some stories inside Rikers were meant to stay buried. She pounded on the doors, shouting for backup, but the vault swallowed her voice. The fixer continued. Don't worry. Marcus is safe. Safer than he ever was here. And soon, the world will forget this place ever failed him. Footsteps faded. Silence returned. A final, distorted beep came from the broken phone. A text notification. One sentence. Another juvenile is next. And the screen went black.